Today our topic is problem solving involving quadratic equations. So yes, we are working with word problems today. Let's take a look at our first example, example 9 from the book. The sum of the squares of two consecutive positive even numbers is 580. Find the numbers. So starting off, we need to remind ourselves that at the end, we're going to have to solve our problem, or we're going to have to set it up to look something like this with a 0 at the end. Okay, and if you notice, we only have one variable, x. The sum of the squares of two consecutive positive even numbers is 580. Find the two numbers. So I have a sum of squares. So let me first set that up. Sum means to add. Square means you're squaring it. Is 580. Okay, I have two consecutive positive even numbers. So let me just come up with an example, like 2 and 4, okay, or 10 and 12. Those are consecutive because they come right after each other, and they are positive and they are even, divisible by 2. So let me try and figure out how I can assign a variable. Let's pretend that x is the first number. Okay? How would I figure out the second number? Well, it looks like in both cases, the second number is just 2 more than the other. And you can see if that works for anything. 26 and 28 is another pair. Is the first number just x and the second one 2 more than it? Yes. So when they say the sum of the squares, we already got the sum and the squares of two consecutive positive even numbers, we can make the first one x and the second one x plus 2. And that will stand for our two mystery positive consecutive even numbers, where x is the first number, the smaller one. All right, so now let's move on then. We have our equation. Let's rewrite it without the boxes. I will need parentheses around the second term because it is that entire thing squared. All right, let's go ahead and simplify it. X squared stays the same. If I have x plus 2 times x plus 2, I will need to take care of that. So x squared plus, let's see, 2x plus 2x plus 4. So that's really x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 580. I do need that 580 moved over to the other side, because remember we want it in this format right here. Ooh, these two x squares can be combined. 2x squared plus 4x, and then this is cancels out to 0. This is negative 576. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay, so now I've rewritten it in the format of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Let me clean up my workspace then so that I have some room to get my actual work done, because I still need to solve for my roots. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it up on the top here so that I have space. 2x squared plus 4x minus 576 equals 0. All right, you're probably thinking to yourself, like I am, 576, oh my gosh, that's a huge number. Can I simplify this any further? Yes, I can. 2, 4, and 576 are all divisible by 2. So let's go ahead and take out a 2 then. It's half of 576. Oops. divided by 2. Yeah, okay, 288. Okay, so now I have x squared plus 2x minus 288 equals 0. I can get rid of this 2 because at the end when I'm trying to solve to get to 0, this 2 won't do anything for me. Anything with an x I want to keep though, because remember this 2 at the end is just going to be gotten rid of after I multiply it by 0. So it's not really doing anything. So I've reduced it to this, and I do need to now factor it. All right, so I actually rewrote my problem, kind of cleaned up my board a little so that we can get some extra room here. I'm looking for, according to the AC method, two numbers that would multiply to get me to a negative 288, because a times, there's no a, multiplied by c. And then I need to add those two numbers to get to a positive 2. So that must mean that one number is going to be negative, one's going to be positive. So in order for that to happen, I need to have two factors that are essentially going to be subtracting each other to get to 2. So if I start with these factors, they're actually really far away from each other to get a difference of 2. So I need to start in the middle more. 288 divided by, let's say, 12 will get me that 24. So 12 and 24, they can multiply to get to 288, but when I add or subtract them, they're getting me 12. So, but a little closer than, 1 and 288. So let's keep moving. 288 divided by 13. No. 288 divided by 14. Also no. 288 will probably not be divisible by 15, but let's just go with it. Yeah. Divided by 16. 16 and 18. Okay. 16 and 18. Yeah, that looks more like it, because 18 minus 16 now is a 2. Okay. 18 and 16. One of them would have to be negative. Let's try this one negative. Yeah, so that's really 18 minus 16. So then we have negative 16 times positive 18 will get us to negative 288. So that'll work. Okay. Now let's rewrite this then. So this is x squared minus 16x plus 18x minus 288 equals 0. Let's see. Could try to put those two together and these two together. Could we take out an 18? Minus 16. Yeah, because 18 times 16 will be 288. Okay, so we end up with x plus 18 times x minus 16 equals 0. All right, we're getting somewhere. Each of them have to be set equal to 0. So x plus 18 equals 0, and x minus 16 equals 0. We'll use a space over here. Plus 16 plus 16. So x equals 16 is one possibility. Or x equals negative 18. Okay, so we have two possible answers for the first number. However, only one of them will work because we're looking for two consecutive positive numbers. This one gets rejected already. X equals negative 18. Can't work. It works in this equation, but not in this word problem, because in this word problem, we're only interested in two consecutive positive even numbers. Okay, so we're looking at really 16. So if 16 is the first number, that must mean the other number is 18. Okay, so that means 16 squared plus 18 squared will have to get us, when you add it together, will have to get us 580. 16 times 16 is 256. So when we add those together, it should be 580. Yes. So those are our final answers, 16 and 18. Here's another problem. The perimeter of a rectangle is 36 centimeters. The area of the rectangle is 80 centimeters squared. Find the length of the longer side of the rectangle. Pause the video, try it on your own first. All right, perimeter of a rectangle. So basically I have a length that's added twice and a width that's added twice, okay? So let's see, that must mean that, let's call one of them x, okay? And the other one we'll call y for now. Okay, so that must mean that x plus y plus y equals 36. Or 2x plus 2y equals 36. Very complicated. Let's reduce that a little. If 2x plus 2y equals 36, can you agree that x plus y equals half of that, which is 18? Yeah? If all of them added together is 36, then just two of them, just a pair, x and y, would have to equal half of that perimeter, which is 18. Okay? So then we have two sides, x plus y equals 18. We only want one variable though, so we don't want this y. Let's rename it. Let's make it so that one side is x. Let's call that the length or something. And then let's say that the other one, instead of y, we'll say that the width is 18 minus x. Yeah, because if they both have to add up to 18, which is half of the perimeter, then the width would just be whatever's left over after you add the length to get to 18. All right then. The next part says the area of the rectangle is 80 centimeters squared. Area is equal to length times the width. So now instead of area, we're putting in 80, because that's the answer to the area. Instead of length times width, we can write x times 18 minus x, because we know that if the length is x, then the width has to be 18 minus x from what we talked about previously. All right, so that's our equation then. But remember, we need to put it into this format. So we need to move some stuff around. So this becomes 80 equals, distribute that, 18x minus x squared. Move some stuff around. Let's subtract 18x and add x squared to both sides so that we can keep that positive. We'll get 0 over here. We get x squared minus 18x plus 80 as our equation. Okay, let me, whoops, rewrite that above here. Eraser. Rewrite that above here so that we have some space. Okay, so we have x squared minus 18x plus 80 equals 0. Okay, and now we actually do the fun thing of factoring it. So we need a product that'll get us to 80, but we need a sum that'll get us to negative 18. So that must mean we have two negative numbers that'll be added together to get to negative 18, but then we'll multiply negative times negative to make positive. So what do we have then? We have 1 and 80, 2 and 40, 4 and 20. Let's see, am I missing anything? 5 and 16? Is that right? 80 divided by 5? Yep. Let's see, what else? I miss anything? 80 divided by 3, I'm pretty sure it doesn't work, yeah. 80 divided by 6, pretty sure also doesn't work too. 80 divided by 7 doesn't work. 80 divided by 8, oh yeah, 8 and 10. 8 and 10, I think that's it then. Okay, so 8, negative 8 times negative 10, negative 8 plus negative 10. Perfect. So I get x squared minus 8x minus 10x plus 80 equals 0. And then I might want to group these two together. So I end up with x times x minus 10 minus 8, take that out, times x minus 10 as well, because negative 8 times negative 10 is positive 80. Okay, so then I end up with x minus 8 times x minus 10 equals 0. And then I just set each of these equal to 0. X minus 8 equals 0. That would mean that x equals 8. And then for x minus 10 equals 0, x would have to equal to 10. All right, so x equals 10 and x equals 8. Let's try and just check and make sure that they are correct. The perimeter of a rectangle is 36 centimeters. Remember, perimeter is telling you the total outside, adding up all the sides. So we have 10 plus 10 plus 8 plus 8, and these are all centimeters. So does 36 equal 20 plus 16? Yes, it does. So far the perimeters checks out. The area is 80 centimeters squared. These are all centimeters. Area is centimeters squared. Area is length times width. So we have our length times our width, which is 10 times 8. Does that equal to 80? Yes, it does. Okay, so those are our two lengths, but they do want to find the length of the longer side of the rectangle. So your answer should be 10 centimeters, not both of them. Just 10 centimeters because they just want the length of the longer side.